The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 10th day of June, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Michaela. Good
morning. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. How you doing, Kales? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Back on the iced coffee. It's hot.
It's hot. Certainly hot. The temperature has risen.
It's summer. Definitely.
Yeah, for in many respects. Another good one today as we welcome Her Excellency Governor Rena Lalgie, right? She's coming on for a conversation today. The Daily Play is a name that plays, so I think we've got Michaela trick today, folks. We've got a trick.
He's trying to trick me. Like, come on, give me a little easy.
I've only succeeded in tricking you twice so far, and
twice. That's correct.
Yeah, she's a very intelligent one, folks. To get one over. But look, happy Thursday, everyone.
Yes.
We have a lot to discuss, a lot to get through. As Michaela mentioned, the temperature is pretty hot in Bermuda right now, and we just cannot avoid the heat. We can, as far away as we try to stay out of the kitchen, the fire is just spreading so rapidly, right? So let's just go there.
Let's do it.
Yesterday, social media was pretty much lit up, and
a blaze.
It was a blaze, and people, have their opinions and concerns, and it's all surrounded the raft up of a company called, is it Revolve?
I think it's not just the raft up. I think it's the entire trip, if you will.
The entire trip. So, well, here's what I want to know from the audience, Kills, is obviously, what is your issue? What is your issue with Revolve? What is your issue with what you saw in the video? What is your issue with the pictures that are being shared? I would love to know, because it seems like, Michaela, when I come across certain things on social media and different opinions, it seems like somebody may have an issue with one thing, another person another.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out what the issue is so that we can have a conversation, and maybe there's a solution, or at least some understanding somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just give a little background for those who have no clue what we're talking about. This week Revolve is a US-based clothing website. And they do these trips all around the year. They have a gaggle of models, as I like to say. Very beautiful, very thin, tall women. And they do these social media campaigns. So those who may be familiar, they were here 3 years ago, I want to say. Actually, I think they were here twice, 3 years ago and 2 years ago. They usually take over Rosewood, Bermuda. And it is a social media flurry for an entire 5-day event. Usually they partner with local event planners. Gosling's Rum usually does all the bars and everything. There's local entertainers, etc. And so they make Bermuda their playground for 5 days. However, we're in a pandemic, right? We're in COVID. So they got here, everything started on Monday, and the controversy started when there were videos and photos taken of them having what looked like a raft up out by Castle Harbor. So when I first saw it, I saw a bunch of them on the Zara I saw Shaggy performing. I saw a barge. I saw some jet skis. I wasn't bothered by that because I can go and rent the Zara right now at capacity according to the current legislation. And the Zara capacity is 75 people. So you and I could go do that. Like we could have a party this weekend on the Zara if we like. However, then there were more photos that circulated that showed a boat tied up to it. So that's when people seem to like lose their mind a little bit. So in the what is it? The official Gazette thing? What do they call it? The exemption. It said that they had permission for 80 people, 70 of their Revolve people, and then 10 crew. So for me, it seemed like people were just letting out pent out frustration and blaming Revolve for everything. Yeah, I wasn't really worked up about it, to be honest. I wasn't.
So you don't have an issue with the trip nor the raft up situation?
No, I don't have an issue with the trip at all. So they had a dinner in the unfinished church. Both you and I could have a dinner in the unfinished church. Obviously, if it's beyond 50 people, we would have to get permission. And as I'm hearing, it's not easy to get permission. The issue that I have is they were given permission for a yacht party. Okay. And that's what I saw. And then I saw a photo, like I said, of a boat, like a big, what it looked like a fishing boat, like Mike Jones's fishing boat, tied up next to it. So you can let them have a yacht party, but they can't tie a boat next to the boat. That didn't make any sense to me in terms of the rule.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the audience. Elizabeth Varel says, I don't give a hoot about the trip. Hoot's not a curse word, is it? They blatantly broke a law by having a raft up. If a local has a raft up right now and the police pulls up, the local can get fined. Either drop the restrictions or enforce the law. Simple. So obviously from that comment and many others that was shared and that we saw, it seems like people feel like, so there's laws for locals,
right?
None for visitors.
Right. And this is the thing, like I will sit here and I will say this. I think the fact that there is a law that says that you cannot tie a boat to another boat, but you can have a party on the water. What's the difference? What is the difference? So if I have a boat and you have a boat and we tie those boats together, it's a problem. However, if your boat is anchored right next to my boat, it's fine. What sense does that make? And then I kind of just want to give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit. Raft up is a uniquely Bermudian term. So if these organizers are looking through the rules that the government has given them, and the government says, oh, you can have a yacht party, that's fine, but then there's a little thing that says no raft up. Do they know what that means? And maybe I'm being a little silly here, but in my experience, people outside of Bermuda don't know the term raft up.
Well, what's the term I'm looking for? Is what would we say the lines are blurred or like
a little?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay, let's go to the audience. Carla John says, I think the issue is the double standard for residents versus visitors. Terry says, but the limit is 50 max for group.
But they got permission for 80. Okay. So that's a moot point.
And you said that including the crew. Yeah,
70 plus 10 crew. Okay. I read that yesterday.
Okay. Elizabeth says, the captain of the boats know full well that we are not allowed to have raft ups. They wouldn't allow it with local groups. So I think what we're seeing is people just picking up. Sam Cat Play says, graduations, funerals, weddings, we've been gypped.
People can have weddings though. This is my thing. Like you can have a wedding of 50 people. My son's school is having a graduation today. So I get it in terms of locals versus tourists. I get that. I get the perception. I get the optics. Totally understand. But at the same time, I think it's a lot. I think this is just the pot is bubbling over at this point. I think that's what it is.
All right.
And I think it doesn't help. Go ahead. Sure. My understanding is that Rosewood Tuckers had permission for a large event, but they didn't have permission for the raft up. The raft up, I believe, is the main issue. Based on the situation now, the question is, will they be penalized where other Bermudians have already been before the court? Yeah. I just, I'm just because I read the thing that was in the official gazette and it said that they were given permission for a yacht party. But to Elizabeth's point, local boat captains do know the difference.
Yeah.
They know the difference. So is it a case of the Revolve people trusting in the locals to know what the law is? Or is it a case of we're going to be here, we've spent a lot of money, we're going to do whatever we want? End of story. Because if it's the latter, then that's a huge problem.
Well, Amanda Kelly is asking a question. Was there a mixture of locals? And yes, were locals affected? So I'm pretty sure there were locals now in terms of working the boats.
Yes,
but as
locals working.
But were there locals like, attending and partying?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Bobby Singh says, I have no problem with the event. I think it's cool and outstanding marketing for Bermuda. I do feel the Raft Up rules are dumb to begin with.
I agree.
Sadly, now with all the negativity, companies like this will take pause when planning an event in Bermuda. Tamara Richardson says, oh, wow, it's a lot. You all are on form this morning. I'll get through as many comments as possible real quickly. Tamara Richardson says, the issue is we've been here before. Golf, rugby, SailGP, etc. Laws seem to be made and relaxed with these events in mind, while locals are often in the dark and can't even plan their lives because we aren't in the know.
Yeah.
And says the boat owners should know there shouldn't be a raft up. Sherry Vanderpool says, my understanding is that the boat was only there 20 minutes and the boat that brought Shaggy over. So,
see, that makes a lot of sense. And like I said, maybe I'm giving them a little bit too much of the benefit of the doubt. I would like to think that people aren't coming here and just flouting the laws. But I think we have to be real. And I'm just going to say it. A lot of this stuff is stupid. A lot of it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, okay, we can have a party on the Zara. We can have a good time. We can anchor over at Castle Harbor. Woo woo. But then Bobby comes in with her boat and ties up next to us, and it's a problem. You see what I mean? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, indeed. It's a tough one. Kemi Kane says the rules are for certain people, period. Like Sean Crockle said, there are two Bermudas. I disagree.
I disagree too, 100%.
There's more than two Bermudas if we're going to go there. I mean, it's definitely more than two Bermudas. I don't think, if we've noticed anything over the last 3-4 years, it's definitely more than two Bermudas if we're going to have that conversation.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think the crux of the issue, and Tamara was spot on, the crux of the issue here is that local promoters haven't been able to have events.
Yeah,
so we want to, so we want to move mountains for the rugby. We want to move mountains for the golf. We want to move mountains for SailGP. Now, I was not against SailGP because they were all in their bubbles, but that's a whole nother story. But then when, my friends who are promoters can't have events, and like, for instance, I'm on a mailing list of one of the carnival bands, and they sent out an email, trying to get an idea of people's interest for a certain event, but they can't say that the event is happening because they don't have any permissions to have the event. And then are they getting feedback as quickly as the Revolve people? They're not.
Yeah, we're running out of time, so I want to just get to a couple more comments because I want to make my point as well. I haven't shared my opinion as I'm really trying to get a kind of an understanding of where the consensus is. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, Jamal, you know me, one thing that really bothers me about this social media age is that everyone wants to post every hour of your day on social media. You just need to enjoy the moment. Unfortunately, Mark, with these folks, that's what they're paid to do.
Exactly.
On social media, so that Bermuda actually gets value out of the deal. Philip Trott says, there have been many local promoters that have had their events canceled at the last minute. They have put out statements asking what they need to do to get the same exemption as Revolve. And he said, Philip Trott goes on to say, local promoters inject millions into the economy annually. Bermuda Carnival is that ancillary events, and they do not feel they're given the same considerations. Here's the thing, folks. Here's where I'm at with this. And I just need to be like, just hear me out. I've said on this show numerous times that Bermudians do not understand tourism. I think Bermuda has done an extremely bad job of educating Bermudians on how tourism works. So if your problem is the fact that they can, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
This is how to, like, again, my hope is that, you had this CTA program, which I was never a fan of. Sorry if that hurts anyone's feelings, because it doesn't educate Bermudians about how tourism works, a conversation we've had on here. So I have no problem with that. Bermuda needs that injection in the economy. My issue overall with this entire thing is, as I look at the press release by the local promoters that you can find on Bermeem's Twitter, right? The title of it is just "My Issue," period. Local event organizers left out in the cold, right? That probably is my issue with it all. The fact that you've seen, as Tamara Richardson mentioned and Michaela emphasized, over time, different events, whether it's golf, sail, GP, rugby, and at no point are Michaela or myself saying we're against these events. Let's be clear. What we're saying is that it kind of doesn't, the optics, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good when local promoters, people who literally, this is not just a hustle to some people. We've had Rusty G on, right? We've heard Rusty G say, he's a full-time DJ. We've had DJ Ibreeze who said, it's not full-time for him. He still has a job. But for some people, it's not just a hustle. We have to stop looking at this as, oh, it's just a hustle. You have cab drivers who are actually able to benefit driving gut business for the first time in months. So I feel like the government has to get ahead of this, because we saw the same thing with St. Regis, with the building of St. Regis down there, where almost it seemed like the Minister of National Security was thrown under the bus because they got special permission to, have workers on site. Like, it just seems like we keep coming here, and we don't have to. We don't have to.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And it's just really unfortunate because I understand how tourism works. It's obviously necessary. This sort of trip is going to have more people, especially younger people, because you have to remember, these are all models and influencers. They live on social media. So Bermuda's being exposed to a whole new audience, younger people, etc. But at the same time, it's like, I pay taxes.
Absolutely.
I live here. So don't I have a right?
Exactly. Let's bring Lee into the conversation. Lee, I know you're backstage. You probably have some of this in your news report, but and without going into detail, because obviously we can't touch on certain things, is, what are your thoughts on the impact that Revolve has for Bermuda, or at least, the understanding from Bermudian concerns? Do you understand the concerns that people have?
I do, and I've been listening to the comments coming in. I've listened to both you guys' input on the event and everything. So before I answer your question, let me put it this way. I do work for Gosling's, and we have had some involvement in this. It's been 4 days nonstop. I've got to go to the last event today, and I've been running on fumes. But in regards to the wrapped up itself, now I was actually there the entire day for 8 hours from setup to breakdown, and I want to give my input, and without defending it or coming across as defending it, by seeing the event with my own 2 eyes, it was not a raft up in no shape or form. They did have a boat come to bring Shaggy over. Shaggy did his performance, and the minute Shaggy was done, he was probably on there for 5 minutes, and the boat left. The reason why the boat was rafted up there is because, obviously, given stuff like this, they needed to get a shot, and a shot that was supposed to, go viral for, the public and for the rest of the world, to show, Bermuda is fun, we're open, we're trying to do things, etc. So I just wanted to weigh in on that side of things. Now, I am a local, and I do, and like everyone else, I also want to enjoy some fun too. So I do get where our people, and they have an issue with the fact where it does look like 2 Bermudas, or 3 Bermudas, or 4 Bermudas. We haven't had a chance to enjoy ourselves the way some of these events have come down. So I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I do know the ins and outs of the actual event planning and how things go. So it's hard for me to actually say, well, it should be this way, but I understand that this is exactly how it took place.
Well, Lee, first off, I appreciate, I mean, we appreciate your transparency, because at no point was I trying to put you on the spot, but transparency, I mean, brilliant. Thank you for that. Second thing, I just want to say, I'm sure Rick Olson's comment and touch on this before we go to the news break. He says, this incident could totally backfire on the island's tourism if the takeaway is our negative attitude, restrictions, and curfew. Let me just add this to what Mr. Olson just said. There are many countries and jurisdictions where it could be Ashanti when I was in, I think I was in Antigua or something, Anguilla. I can't remember which country, end of the year. There are artists in Jamaica all the time. Tabitha Brown was in Jamaica recently, right? The famous vegan now. Bermuda's the only place where if Shaggy was in any other island, it probably wouldn't be a discussion, because people wouldn't know and wouldn't care. However, that's not to say that people's concerns are less valid in Bermuda, because I think that the optics are really bad on this. So again, folks, we have our opinions. I don't think anyone's really wrong. I think there's so many different angles to come from this. What I would say, as we turn over to Liana for the news break and have the governor coming up after that, honestly, Bermuda government, Premier David Burt, you cannot continue going down this road. You can't go from St. Regis to this. And people may say it's beyond his control. He didn't know. At the end of the day, buck stops with the premier on this.
Yes, I agree. And I don't think tweeting things out that are not proven is a good look.
There we go. Lee, over to you.
Thanks, Jamala, Michaela, and good morning to everyone that's listening all over the world. We are just one day away from the weekend, and I hope everyone is having a great start to their day. I'm Rena Lalgie, and it's time for our daily hour news break. Well, it's the images and videos exploded on social media yesterday, showing a raft up involving dozens of social media influencers brought to the island by U.S. fashion brand Revolve. Now, despite organizers being granted an exemption to host the large group gathering by the Department of National Security, police have been asked by Minister Renee Ming to seek clarity if the specific guidelines in place were followed by attendees. Ms. Ming described the raft up as, quote unquote, very concerning and extremely disappointing, as raft ups continue to be illegal under current COVID-19 laws. Now, the video and images of the raft up show boats lined up together with scores of people. Reggae superstar Shaggy also made an appearance as entertainment for the event. And Premier David Burt also weighed in on the matter, saying in a tweet that he, quote, 100% agreed in response to a post saying that until someone is fined, like many locals have been, this is lip service, end quote. Constitutional Freedom Bermuda, an activist group who we currently know is taking legal action against the government to challenge certain restrictions set out, said it was calling on the National Security Minister to explain the rationale behind granting overseas retail company Revolve an exemption to bring non-Bermudians to have a paradise vacation party in Bermuda, whilst Bermudians are subjected to a laundry list of unreasonable restrictions. And we'll have more on that story as it evolves. In other news, there were severe traffic delays in the West End yesterday following a serious collision that left a 21-year-old man with head injuries. Now, police said that a car and a motorcycle were involved in the incident at the junction of Somerset Road and Soundview Road in Sands around 3:20 p.m. The motorcyclist apparently sustained head injuries as well as a fractured collarbone and was transported to hospital via ambulance for treatment, where he is currently in stable condition. The driver of the car, a 75-year-old Sandsman, was not injured. There were traffic delays in the area as a result of the crash. Police are calling for witnesses to call 295-0011 or email rswan@bps.pm. And if you ever envisioned seeking your work showcased in the city, now is your chance. The Corporation of Hamilton is inviting local artists to submit proposals for for the design and execution of the Washington Lane Mosaic project. The project is part of the corporation's public art initiative, which aims to enliven areas in the city through public art installations that connect visitors and the local community to Bermuda art and culture. Now, the artwork must be built into corporation-provided rectangular metal trays, which will be installed throughout Washington Lane, flushed with new sidewalk pavers. Now, there are 9 tray spaces available. The corporation is also planning to install an extensive mural to be installed on the Great Things building and a large-scale Bermuda marquee sign. Artists are able to submit more than one proposal, and submissions can be from an individual or group or association, such as schools or art organizations. Now, funds will be awarded to selected artists based on a selection committee's evaluation of the project proposal using judging criteria outlined in the request for the proposal, and they will be judged on their creativity, practicality, aesthetics, and social responsibility. The deadline for submission of all proposals is Wednesday, June 30th. The contract will be awarded on July 12th. To see guidelines or make a submission, just email events@cityhall.em. Looking at today's weather, we will see a high near 82 and a low near 75 degrees. Sunny starts to today, some cloudy, bubbling up later. Showers will be to the east, winds southwesterly light, gradually veering west-southwesterly, and increasingly light to moderate overnight. That's all for our daily hour news break. It looks like we're already back in the studio with Jamal and Michaela for today's Daily Focus.
I was trying to think of a funny joke about the weather because we started off talking about the heat. It's kind of hot in Bermuda, and I just couldn't get one. So when you read the weather, I'm so corny. I'm sorry, but I was trying to jump in on the weather and just my bad, folks. I'm not good at this comedy stuff at all. But Lee, thanks so much for that, and thank you for what you do in trying to ensure that people enjoy Bermuda and want to visit and come back. So thank you, Leanna.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You guys have a great day.
All right. See you tomorrow. All righty.
Bye.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick break. I really failed at the joke, trying to find a joke today, folks. I don't mind me. We have Her Excellency, the Governor of Bermuda, Rena Lalgie, coming up. Do not go anywhere. We usually tell you, share the links, retweet it, start a watch party. You want to be a part of this conversation.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
We're welcoming back the often featured Whole Food veterans Bragg Live Food Products, renowned for their live probiotic organic raw cider vinegar and savory seasonings. Paul Bragg is the man behind the products that has originated health food stores, restaurants, and spas, and promoted nutrition education through the media, helping lay the foundation for the enlightened way we make healthful choices when we shop for and prepare food. This month we're featuring Bragg Organic Raw and Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar and Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the Big Show, Michaela, and I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and our friends over at Channel 82, where you can stream this and many other locally produced shows. Without further ado, let's bring our guest for the day, the Governor, Her Excellency, Rena Lalgie. Welcome to the show, madam. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Good morning. We are well.
Yeah, we're doing well. I mean, trying to turn the temperature down a bit, but you know,
we shouldn't complain.
No,
it will eventually pass. So
this is true. But I have to ask you the first question. We started this probably yesterday. We have to ask this. You've been in Bermuda, what, 6 months now?
Yes.
All right. Who's your cup match team?
I don't have one. You know that.
You should look at my light blue and you should make a decision based on the light blue.
What I would say is that this approach towards cup match is causing me an absolute nightmare every single morning as I get dressed, because everybody has an issue. There's too much red and blue in my wardrobe. Far too much. So I'm going to work on that for next year, and I've intentionally tried, I hope, to go with more neutral colors this morning.
So you know what? We have about a month, about 6 weeks to work on you. So Michaela and I will send you some treats and make sure that you end up with the only colors blue by July.
Yeah.
So we're going to welcome you with warm arms. All right. But thank you for coming on the show, and just start telling people a bit about your background. Like, how did you get to the point where you were appointed the governor of Bermuda?
So I've been really lucky, blessed to have done some amazing jobs through my career so far, and all of them have really helped me to have the kind of breadth of experience that meant that I was able to apply for this job. And so that involves some of the things that I've done in a voluntary capacity, as well as the things that I've done kind of more formally as in terms of employment. And so that's what kind of got me here, the range of working on quite an extensive range of issues, kind of national security issues, sort of social and economic policy issues, working on economic growth, working on the justice side based on a policy perspective, but also as a magistrate for a number of years in the UK. All of those things I kind of draw on the learning and the experience every day.
Right. Oh,
That's awesome. So how did it feel to be coming to Bermuda for this new role?
It's daunting. It was definitely daunting, and more so, I think, because of the current sort of circumstances, the reality of picking up a family and moving them to a new place, a place that we had never been to before, in the middle of a pandemic when we couldn't have the sort of going away celebrations, interacting, contact with family and friends. It was definitely harder, but it is the most exciting opportunity, and I genuinely feel honoured and humbled by the kind of responsibility that has been placed in me, and it's great to be able to have my family with me.
Family is everything. So tell us about the significance in being Bermuda's first Black governor and woman governor, because those are two big things.
They're huge, and isn't that sad?
I know.
So for me, obviously it was part of my consideration. It was probably in the moments when I was thinking either, should I really apply, or could anyone, as I go through the kind of long and arduous process, like, is other people going to be able to see a woman as the governor of Bermuda after after 4 centuries? Is anybody going to be able to see and feel comfortable and at ease and confident in a Black woman as governor of Bermuda, of all places? And so that, for me, it definitely factored into my considerations. I think some aspects of it I may well have underestimated before I came, but there is a combination of feeling a bit sad that in 2020, 2021, that, as I can be the first woman to do a job that's been around for so long. But at the same time, there is a huge sense of responsibility that I feel, and duty that I feel, to do this well, so that when I leave, there is kind of no question, or I haven't kind of done anything to sort of furnish those people who say, actually, this really is not the job that you put a woman in, or not the job that you put a Black person in.
Right. So do you ever feel pressured as being the first? Because it's not just the first Black person, it's also the first woman. So is there any pressure there for you?
So I wouldn't describe it as pressure. I definitely, the sense of responsibility I feel, because it's not just, whenever I do a job, I want to do it to the very best of my ability. I want it to be things to be better for me having been there. And given some of the things that I've opted to do in my career, sometimes things being better means kind of things being less bad, if that makes sense, rather than this being a sort of complete change to a utopia. But there are definitely things that are different. And I see it on a day-to-day basis, and I see the reminders on a day-to-day basis that I am different, and that this is a significant change. I don't feel pressure from that. It's just a constant reminder that it really matters, and it was worthwhile going through the process. And the things that are not so great on some days, I sit there, I think to myself, actually, you know what? If there's one sort of girl out there now, one young person, a woman, a black child, anywhere in the world who is sort of, feeling that sense of people trying to constrain their ambition or trying to tell them they can't do things because it's not really their thing or something that people like them do, then, I just hope that it will mean something to some people in that way.
Yeah, no, I like that. I love how you explain that. So in 2021, can you tell us what the role is of a modern government house?
So there are some things that I think haven't changed in quite a while. So, and at the very core of it, there, I have some very clear responsibilities under the Constitution around sort of defence, security, and international obligations, the sort of independence of the judiciary, good governance, etc. And those things genuinely take up most of my days in one way or another. And in that sense, I think at least the functions that I'm performing will be very familiar to kind of most of my predecessors in kind of modern times. But there are definitely some things that are different. The relationship between the UK and Bermuda is different, and is one that is, I think, just a kind of much more focused around a kind of mutual benefit and support. And there is also a huge difference, and probably the thing that my predecessors would not recognise very much is I've so far only been governor in the middle of a global pandemic. So actually the thing that people associate most with it, that I think many people think the governor does, is around the sort of ceremonial piece and the hosting large receptions, and actually that is not what the governor of Bermuda does in modern times. And of course, in these times, those are not things that really I've had much opportunity to do as well.
No, I like that breakdown, because in my mind, it's similar, right? The governor comes out with his own speech, there's the big Queen's birthday celebration, and so forth. So I love how you talked about the things that you actually do outside of, the ceremonial thing. So speaking of the UK and the Bermuda relationship, what do you plan to do to improve relations between Bermuda and the UK?
So I'm really focused on improving some of the kind of understanding, and that kind of spreads quite widely now. It's quite odd for me to say that in some ways, but given the sort of close and historic ties and the family ties that exist between the UK and Bermuda, but there are always still sort of myths and misconceptions, and I think that is something that on both sides I'm really keen to help to ensure that people have a better understanding of the issues that are really matter here in Bermuda today, and equally to improve that understanding what the UK is about in modern times as well. And so there is that, but probably the biggest thing that I can do to ensure that we continue to kind of build and grow in terms of our relationship is really about the way that I work with the elected government of the day. So not just what I do, but how I do it and how I engage, and also to ensure that I fulfill the functions that are set out for me within the Constitution. if there are other things that I can do to support, help, assist, champion, advocate for, then great. But that is definitely the sort of core that I will remain focused on, and I think that will help to kind of really ensure that we have the kind of modern relationship we want.
Speaking of the local government and you, what has your relationship been with the government of Bermuda since you've been appointed, particularly the Premier David Burke, because you did come in the middle of a pandemic? Have you been able to sit down and chat with them and make any progress on anything that may have been top of the list for them?
So making progress on the kind of issues that are kind of the main priorities, definitely. But the sitting down, much less so. The reality is that many of my engagements with the government have been online, far too many for I think any of our liking. And so the sort of as we've had periods where things have opened up much more, we've been able to at least interact and be in the same place together. But I'm really looking forward to being able to get to know the government more and to spend more time interacting as well as, and that goes for the wider public. Bermuda has this kind of unique, I think, a really special combination of kind of formality, but also a kind of a warmth and good humor and energy, and I think I will really, I'm looking forward to be able to kind of experience that in my interactions with people and sort of shift the balance a bit more from the kind of formal interactions to some of the kind of more social ones that will allow us to get to know each other and for me to understand how I can best serve.
Indeed. If you have any questions or comments for the governor, please feel free to share, and I'll try to get as many questions or comments across. We mentioned the pandemic. You've spoken about coming in, moving your family during a pandemic. What has been the most challenging part of this job in the first 6 months?
So the most challenging in terms of the pandemic, I would probably say is, I've spoken a bit about the sort of interactions with people. There are so many people who you would expect that I've spent lots of time with and I've got to know, and I'm meeting for sort of face to face, at least for the first time. But probably the most challenging thing is this sense of having moved here for a period of time, is this sense that I can't have the sort of, as an individual and as a family, can't sort of connect with that support network at home in the way that we would want to. And it's not just at home, but sort of, to our family, who are sort of spread around the world. One of the amazing things about Bermuda is just how connected it is, despite the sort of geography. It kind of defies lots of logic. There was a lot about this job, which was just like, there are, daily flights to the UK. I can connect with family in the US all the time, and all of those things are much more constrained than they would ordinarily be. And that makes it, that I would say is probably one of the most challenging things at the moment, is that sense that, that feeling of being disconnected from kind of support networks, disconnected from kind of family and friends. And I think that is the same, that experience would have been the same if I was still at home in London.
Bermuda's facing, it's a very challenging time for the country, but also globally, it's a challenging time. What are some things that when you came in, you saw and you said, you know what, I want to be the governor that says, I helped to create this, or I helped change this, or I helped move this forward? I remember your predecessor, was it Rankin, Governor Rankin, His Excellency Governor Rankin. One of the toughest things that came across his desk was the marriage bill, right? Which is still, we're still awaiting a decision from the Privy Council after the hearing in February. But what are the things that may be on that scale that might be before your desk that you probably want to say, you know what, I would love for this to happen during my time, to know that I left a legacy in Bermuda that the people could be proud of?
So and you will have seen some from you're being very polite in in asking a kind of broader question in that sense. But I think the ensuring that the kind of compliance with international regulations and the sort of the reputation in terms of the role within within the bounds of my constitutional responsibilities, the kind of role that I can play in terms of continuing to sort of bolster the Bermuda's global reputation and to ensure that remains at the height that it is. I think those are going to be some of the most challenging things that I will deal with. Will fall into those categories, and some of that might be in the kind of good governance space. Some of it might well be in the kind of arena of those international obligations.
And speaking, we've spoken about the challenges. What's been the most rewarding thing about being governor of Bermuda over the last 6 months?
So genuinely one of the things, and I know I touched on this earlier, but I feel really honoured, and so I have moments where I'm having to make really difficult decisions, which on one level I kind of wish I didn't have to make, and I know that I'm not going to please everybody, and I also know that there are consequences for those decisions, real consequences for people's lives. And when I make those, I feel really on to be in a position where I can do that. And when I can bring the very best of me, I can, just channel through and be able to do that. And then one of the other things that for me has been, probably the best thing is that, that there is a particular view, one of the views from Government House I absolutely adore. And when I'm having a moment, like that can just calm me down, because I just think to myself, there are, as much as this is a difficult job, there are some things which I just wouldn't be able to do it, and would never have imagined that I would be able to do, and to be able to give those experiences to my children as well.
Indeed. And just clarify, because I know this topic comes up pretty often in Bermuda, especially when the temperature is hot like right now, but the governor is responsible for national security in terms of police, military. What
so as the governor, I'm also the commander-in-chief of the Royal Bermuda Regiment, and that is an amazing part of the job as well, and probably one that I was quite apprehensive about beforehand, because I don't have the military in my background at all, and for them, so I'm also their first female commander-in-chief as well, and their first black commander-in-chief, and that means something given the history of the regiment.
Mm-hmm. And it's so the regiment. Do you ever see customs as well? Like, just trying to get an understanding.
No. So I work very closely with the Minister for National Security, but kind of customs is less so, in so far as I have responsibilities around some of the sort of political impartiality and appointments in the public service, but beyond that, it isn't a kind of within my policy domain. It is a matter for the government.
Okay. It's been a pleasure. Again, if you have any questions or comments for the governor, get them in now. Governor, I must say that there are a few people that are upset about your cut match team. Even though you didn't choose
so can I just sorry, I'm just quickly reading. I'm really sorry to interrupt, but I said I had too much red and blue in my wardrobe, and actually I won't tell you where the balance sits on that, but that's what's causing a problem, is how do I find something to maintain the impartiality of the governor that doesn't upset or or offend. That's my problem.
This is the one time where being divided as a people is allowed. no. We're going to be sending you some St. Georgia stuff. Don't worry. So we'll be in touch.
Let me sway you a little bit. So when you fly out of Bermuda to go back home to see your family, you're in the East.
Yep.
You can't fly out in the West. So I think that takes it up a couple notches. I think.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get you, Kills. We've had a lot of people. Karen Edwards Simmons actually says, thank you for being a patron of Duke of Edinburgh's International Award Bermuda and supporting the hundreds of young people who are pursuing the award levels bronze, silver, and gold. So people definitely recognizing your contributions to the community there. We do have a bunch of Somerset people in here that are just I'll be sending some Somerset stuff. That's our co-host there, Sherry. She has the day off. Thankfully, she's not here.
She's gonna get it tomorrow.
But Governor, before you go, if you would like the Bermudian people to know one thing about you, something that maybe only your family knows, what would you say? We're family here now. You're family now. Just what's something that fun about you that they should know?
We want the secrets.
That is most definitely a question for the end rather than at the start, surely. And maybe for some of those more informal interactions as well.
So, folks, we're going to get it out of her. Once we celebrate cup match with her and St. George's is lifting that trophy, we will get it out of her. But honestly, it's been a pleasure. I'm really grateful, thankful to your office and yourself and your family for coming on this platform and having this conversation with us. Please know that if there's anything, any message that you need to get across to the Bermudian people, if you'd like to come back for a special occasion, the door is wide open.
Thank you very much for having me. Enjoy the day.
All right. Thank you much. Her Excellency, Governor Rena Lalgie. Thanks again for the show. I said Lalgie?
Lalgie.
Rena Lalgie. I'm getting this, folks. You know me and name. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, folks. We have a big giveaway and big announcement after this. If you enjoyed that conversation with Her Excellency, please, you know what to do. Show us some love, like us, love us. Just to let us know your thoughts. You all were very quiet today, so that means you were very attentive. Don't go anywhere. Big giveaway, new sponsor announcement right after this. Show us some love. We will be back.
Tune in to the Full 100 Radio every Tuesday through Sunday at 7 p.m. Bermuda time as we bring you the love, romance, sexiness with nighttime jams only on your station for conversations and entertainment. The Full 100 Radio. Download the app available for Android and Apple devices.
All right, folks, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Her Excellency, the Governor of Bermuda, Rena Lalgie, for coming on and having this conversation. Honestly, I can't thank it enough. I know Kales is a huge fan. What are your thoughts, Kales?
No, she's fantastic. And I love that she, acknowledged it in 2021. The fact that in 2021, it's a big thing to have a woman and a Black person as governor. It's crazy.
Kales is cheesing you all. For those of you listening on the radio, she's cheesing. A big announcement, big giveaway. There's a hashtag I'm going to give you. Do not go anywhere. But Kales, we have a daily play for you.
Yes, where you're going to try to outsmart me. And but
it doesn't usually work. Here's the question of the day, folks. Here's the question. All right. Daily play time. The daily play is now brought to you by our friends, Heineken Zero.
Woo woo.
Am I doing this right? Yeah. Heineken. Can you see the zero? Yeah. Heineken Zero, as you all know, that next month I'll be celebrating 2 years without alcohol. So thanks again to Heineken Zero for coming on board as a sponsor. And we'll be pouring one at the end of the show. And we will be giving away a case of Heineken Zero. So I'm going to give you the hashtag. So the Daily Play brought to you by Heineken Zero. Michaela, here is your question for the day.
All right.
The domestication of the coffee bean can be traced back to what country?
What country or continent?
Country.
Oh, Jesus.
I think I got her, folks.
Oh, okay. Oh God. I want to say Costa Rica, but it's not right because it's somewhere in Africa.
Wow, you've got that right.
It's in Africa. Is it? Oh, geez, Kenya? Is it Kenya? It's not
Nope,
Kenya.
not Kenya.
I know this because I'm a coffee fiend.
I just wanted to give you that song for the first
I know
time.
it's in Africa.
It's in Africa, folks. It's in somebody got it. Wow. Ethiopia. Yeah.
I don't like how you've been stumping me this week. This is not right. I need to come correct next week. Charity, I hope you're watching so that tomorrow we come correct because this is just ridiculous.
Tamara got it. Ethiopia, David got it. So yes, the domestication of the coffee bean can be traced back to Ethiopia. The earliest known record of coffee drinking dates to a 15th century Yemeni monastery. I don't know how to pronounce that, but you get the point. Yes, so it is Ethiopia, folks. It is Ethiopia. So with that said, before we get to the giveaway and daily inspiration, I want to get your thoughts, folks. What were your thoughts of the conversation today with the governor? What are your feeling about? Do you feel more comfortable that a black woman is governor? Do you feel that you have a better understanding of how government house works? Kales, you were excited. You came away very pleased. What are your thoughts on today's convo with the governor?
Yeah, no, I love how she talked about how everyone just thinks the governor is, doing all the pomp and circumstance and like having events, and that's pretty much all they do. And I love how she kind of broke that down because I didn't actually realize all the functions that were involved with being the governor of Bermuda. So it was nice for her to kind of like peel the curtain back a little bit and give us a glimpse into what she does.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was definitely an eye opener for me from the respect that I've never cared to know outside of like I just knew it was the parades and the governor's speech, and they oversaw the police and regiment. But definitely appreciated the conversation, folks. Look in the comments. Here is today's hashtag Heineken Zero to give away a case of Heineken Zero. Thanks again to the partnership, to the great folks at Burroughs Lightborn, jumping on board as sponsor. Kales, you know what I'm gonna do?
Are you gonna pour your Heineken Zero in that cup and drink it?
Look. If it was alcohol, see, this is the benefit of not drinking alcohol. I could take the non-alcoholic version and pour me one, and you all can't judge me.
Does it actually taste good? Because
so you have haters that say it doesn't, but honestly, it does taste the same to me. It does have yeah.
Yeah, so I don't do beer at all. I'm a rosé girl, as we know. I love my champagne. Vodka on occasion, but that's it.
Kale's a champagne girl. She is a champagne girl. Well, you know what? Heineken Zero all day. Got you. We appreciate you. We're giving away a case of Heineken Zero, folks. Get in the comments. Let us know, your thoughts on today's conversation. Also regarding the raft up. Kales, you got some daily inspiration to send them off on the day?
I do have some daily inspiration. Let me pull it up for you. All right. So this is ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
This is a Hasidic proverb. The man or woman who has confidence in himself or herself gains the confidence of others. And I love this because confidence is always a talking point, especially amongst women. And it's just like, you just got to go out there. You get more confident by taking action. You get more confident by being consistent in what it is that you do.
Indeed. No, agree. That's a good one there. I like that one. So, as normal, folks, we do share our quotes on our social media. If you haven't already, make sure you're following us. Make sure you're following us so that you can keep up to date as to what we're doing when we're not on air. Let's get the giveaway up. Let's see how many people. We only have, folks, it's about 200 of you watching or listening. We only have 24 entries. I know sometimes some people reach out and say, oh, it's not catching mine. Just do it as many times as possible. Heineken Zero. Just copy it. Make sure you're spelling it right. It looks like we have about, 26 entries. So we're going to do it. All right, here we go, folks. Here is the draw. You can see it for yourself. 27. Shall we wait to 30? Let's give them a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I've got one more.
Oops.
It's funny because I never know how to spell Heineken. Ever.
Thankfully, I have a bottle and a can in front of me, right? Trudy Q. Simmons, you are the winner of a case of Heineken Zero. So congratulations to Trudy Q. Simmons. Folks, if you win something, please send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com. That's engage@thedailyhour.com so that you can collect your winnings. So congrats to Trudy Q. Simmons. Thanks again to Heineken Zero for becoming a sponsor of the Daily Play, one of the most fun spots. Now, Kales, I was going to do where is Heineken from, right? I'm like, no, she'd probably get that. So that's why I said coffee, kind of tied in a drink,
Yeah, I'm actually annoyed that I didn't get that right away because I'm a coffee fiend. I'm a coffee snob. I love excellent organic coffee. So I'm really irritated at myself, actually.
That's why I thought she'd get it, folks. We've got to run. But thank you all so much. Thanks again to the governor. Like I said, if you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to show us some love, love. Any final words before we head out, Kales?
Just go out and do the thing. If you are frustrated with the rules and the regulations by the government, take it up with the government. Call your MP, email the premier, do whatever you have to do, but channel it to the government. Okay?
Alrighty. No, I feel you. Go to the people. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, and Linda's for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. If you haven't already, folks, just go like and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Stay up to date. Don't forget to also subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notifications bell. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She is Michaela N. I am Jamel Hartman. My friends, make it a great day.
Peace, guys.